Thank you everyone for showing up. I know it is long day and this is the last session and I glad to see so many people here still keeping the energy up. And I promise I will not bore you with lots of talk. We will go through some demo and all. But this is very vast topic, so we'll not able to dive deep a lot. But we'll talk about the concept and how to get started. And that's what you see the three book on the screen. So after the session, I'm going to give away some book signing. I have just uh, maybe 13 copies, so have to see first come first serve. Meet in speaker library after the session. So you can go in more detail. Each of book is 5 to 600 pages. Those are really thick. If you like to read, it is good, or you can use as a paperweight, right? So a little bit about me. So I'm Saurabh Srivastava. I flied half of the world coming from the Austin, Texas to here to talk to you and meet you. Very excited. And this is not first time in Sweden. Last time I visit the Stockholm and Västerås. I really love the city and overall country, the culture, and always looking forward to come back here. So currently, I'm in AWS, stuck there since last 10 years, and lead the team of solution architect for the agentic AI for the legacy modernization. And I will talk about that because that was the key focus, how to modernize the 30, 40-year old workload which is sitting on the COBOL or RPG or even in Java 7, 8 or .NET old version, using the agentic AI to new, which required lots of manpower, but not the case. So without delay, this is what we are going to cover. I try to translate it welcome from the Google Translator, and I hope it is good job. So welcome. Okay. And we will talk about a little bit about foundation and concept and go into the use case and concept and see it in action. So you see how this architecture is evolving. Early in, if you see the 90s and 20s, these were the thick desktop client where we normally, you see, install those thick client in your desktop and interact to that. After that, fast forward in 2000 to 2010, we have seen the flood of the SOAP-based architecture where you have the WSDL and XML contract, and you kind of, if someone want to, talk to one application want to talk to other, you give them the WSDL, they generate the skeleton and go through that. And after that, it came like a microservice, right? So last decade is about the microservices, HTTP protocol. People are talking using the JSON document. So evolved from XML to JSON, which is more lightweight. And now if you will see, this is the next revolution is the agentic AI and MCP. And what I feel, I'm working this industry around 22 years and went through all these evolution. I started my career as a C++ developer. I started working lots of the thick client and SOAP-based development, and this is how I see it is evolving. The future is all going to about the agentic AI, because agentic AI is when we are using the MCP, we will talk about all the protocol, model context protocol, A2A. It's more like it's more like smart API. We kind of created the RESTful API thinking that it's providing the true modular architecture, but still it needs lots of details and expose the, you have to kind of hard-coded functions there to call them. But with MCP, you get the smart API, you just throw the request and it will choose whether it want to call a tool or it want to crawl through the web or what, right? So the future is going to be the, at least for next 3-4 years, technology evolving fast. We see that agentic AI is going. And I work across lots of customers being in AWS, get the opportunity to work across lots of customer and partners, and I see that how all the architecture is evolving to this. So if you look into the journey of the machine learning and how we reached here, so back in, and I think 2018, 17, 18 around, AWS launched this SageMaker, and that's where I started my machine learning journey. And we were more that time talking about the supervisor model or unsupervised model and XGBoost and all those things where we are feeding the label data, and that's where it is putting like model is putting the predictable output, right? So that's where we go from the rule-based to machine learning, but that didn't get very popular. It's really get popular when ChatGPT launched and generative AI become very popular, and then it moved from the agentic AI. So the question is, let's not get confused between what is the traditional AI or agentic AI, right? So these are the two very different things. In traditional AI, even though I will talk about the generative AI also, you give the specific input and specific output. If you are using the Chat GPT or Gemini, you are asking the question, it is giving the answer. But agentic AI is all about the reasoning. So take an example, if you want to know the weather in normal in traditional AI, you will ask, okay, what is the weather in Malome today? And it will give, oh, it is 55 degree. So I was going in the Fahrenheit, okay, but but it is maybe 7 or 8 degrees centigrade, okay. But if you talk about the agentic AI application, you will ask whether I should take umbrella today or not. Okay, that's the question you are throwing. And then it will go, it will search the city, it will, based on your location, it will look the weather app, it will look at the prediction, and then it will tell you. So it is doing some reasoning in the behind, okay, and that's where the intelligent system means. So when we are looking for the agentic AI, actually it works on the four principle, like it perceive. Let's move to this. So it perceive, it get the information, and why I have put some source like S3 or OpenSearch, because if you are building the enterprise application, you want to use this, take this generic model and use the RAG there, so it has your institutional knowledge there, right? If you are building the enterprise knowledge base assistant, right? If you suppose you want to automate your HR policy, people have so much question, okay, how I can get my employment verification later, when I can get the leave, when I can have the medical leave, how many leave are remaining, when I will get my payroll, and all those things. Then you need your HR policies in somewhere in the database, okay? It can be vectorized database, or you throw in the S3 bucket. And that's where you want to put the model to read from that, so it can bake your institutional knowledge there, okay, and give you the answer according to that. So what it do, it actually perceive the knowledge, and then it learn from the, it make the plan, okay. So if you ask how many leave I have remaining, it will go into the knowledge base, find out the HR policy, then it will, intelligent bot will ask you, okay, are you talking about the paternity maternity leave, or you are talking about your sick leave or regular standard PTO, and based on that it will act upon it. And if it is giving wrong answer, it take the feedback and learn on it. So perceive, plan, learn, and act is the principle where it works. And here is like a basic primitive. So basic primitive is, once you create your agent, and I will show how to create the agent, right? So you host into the sandbox, and these agents can talk to each other using the MCP or A2A. And agent need all kind of memory. So short-term memory, it has the context, what you are talking into the chat. Long-term memory, it could be the semantic, episodic, or procedural. It means, semantic means it is standard logic, like 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. It should know that, right, if you are asking some calculation. Episodic is more about how much it remember about the behavior. Does it remember if you chat the agent in long term, does it know about your birthday? So if you'll ask, okay, what is your advice for the investment? Okay, then it will say, okay, if you born in this date and today you are 30-year-old, then this is what I advise. If you are 50-year-old, you have low risk investment. You are 20-year-old, you can do the more aggressive investment, and that where it get from the episodic memory and procedural memory, where it kind of have your interaction. And it need the audibility and tracing, because there could be memory poisoning happening, so model need to know or your agent need to know about it. Then security is very important. People who are authenticated, they only take the security. Guardrail is about, you want to guardrail if it is not giving the information which you don't want, right? Some violent information or some keywords which you don't want it to use, right? So all those things you want to guardrail your AI against, your LLM against. And obviously human in the loop is the key, because still AI is not, it can go wrong. It can give some random information, and you might have heard it very frequently. So when you are designing the enterprise application, it is very important that human in the loop should be there to take that decision. And finally, the agentic registry provide what are the different agent available, and like DevOps or AI ops, the agent ops is important to build end-to-end production line. Okay, so that's what we learn about. It is about it is goal oriented. So agents have reasoning. They are more autonomous and goal oriented. They have the memory, and we need to put the governance, and they can collaborate and orchestrate with each other. So this is in nutshell like how these all factors comes together. So if you will see that agent in between, it can assess that through the tools, it can assess the web API or RAG or anything and get the information, kind of perceive the information from there. Then memory we talked about, where it goes into memory, look the information, it create the action, and then it kind of execute the plan. So here you will see the a simple applications. Earlier there was an Excel sheet I have, and if you need to place the order, human will go take the information from Excel sheet and create that. When created this AI application, it is going into the cloud model, going the Excel sheet, looking at the web search, and filling the information by itself, right? So kind of when human being used to take this mundane task, going into the each row, filling it, and then creating the order, now it can do that job in minutes, where you need like maybe team of 2, 3, 4 people for a week to do that stuff. And these are like different tools. So like if you want to build all those things, so Bedrock Agent Core, I think it become GA recently, where you can host your agentic AI application, and it provide all kinds of models, whether you want OpenAI model, you want cloud model, stability, all kind of models are available there. And then API, like MCP and all, you can use the gateway. So it provides that component. You can have the vectorized knowledge base. The vectorized knowledge base, you can have the PG vector in the Postgre PG vector, or you can use the S3 vectors also, or OpenSearch vector, and you can connect with the external application. So here is another one. You see that this is telling the bicycle route. So when I created this code, you will see it. It is doing the reasoning, and this is using the computer use model of the Claude, okay, and going through the Nova and Nova model and creating the optimized bike route, right? So while model is thinking, it is also taking action. So we will talk more about that, okay? But most important things that if you will see, the MCP literally started getting popular this year in Feb. Before that, there were lots of agent, plethora was agent was there. And then when you are calling any tool, you are calling the individual API, whether you are connecting with a Google Drive, whether it is Kubernetes or container or want to add in the Slack. But since MCP launched, this model context protocol have created the evaluation. At least it is providing kind of acting as the USB-C port where you can plug in all the tools and it will expose all the contract. The good things is you just ask the MCP and it will identify whether it need to go into the tools and or web crawler or the vectorized knowledge base or call the direct microservice API. So you can wrap all those things, and that's what I call the MCP is a smart API. And so when we are talking about there is more things comes into the picture. So while you will see the MCP is a smart API, but you need, so two agents can talk to each other. But for multi-agent collaboration, Google launched the A2A, like agent-to-agent collaboration, and then there is a ACP. So how I see that these three things put together, and that's what I wrote another book, The Modern API Guide, where MCP while interacting at the agent level, but if you are creating very complex agentic AI architecture where you have 5, 6 agents, actually A2A can help you to do that orchestration. And so let's take at the how this agentic AI comes into the picture, especially the first things I remember the Manus. When I tried the Manus back in Feb, I like blown away the way they are doing the things, right? So one things I tried Manus asking that, okay, built my, built the 7-day ternary from the, to my visit to Japan. And what it is doing, LLM used to be black box and people are really skeptical what it is doing. But Manus has bring where it is creating the task and it is going, it spin up a terminal for you. It will tell exactly what they are doing, right? It is going into the background, visiting all the website, and this terminal is showing what exactly it is doing, right? And that's where it is removing that black box in front of the people. So it is kind of creating the more confidence. So here you will see how it is search across the web, crawl across the web, get all the code, put into that terminal, and then created this 7-day ternary there. So what are the architecture variant you will see? There could be a centralized architecture or decentralized architecture. And centralized architecture where you will have a supervisor agent, and that will be coordinating with lot of child agent and getting the information together and then making the decision. While in decentralized, you have multiple agents, they are exchanging information with each other and then telling that, okay, what the decision points are coming. And normally, the supervisor agent act as a planner. Then it create a workflow. These workflow is your executor, and there is a critic which tell that, hey, whether it is going fine or not. So here, to give the best example, here I embedded another demo. So if you will see that earlier, you have the option if there is a loan understanding, loan application is coming to you, right? You have the team of people who are doing the manual assessment, doing a credit check, paycheck, and what is your expense. But with the AI assistant, you can create a supervised agent, and it can go with the child agent and do that. So let's see that. So here you will see what it is doing. I have the supervised agent. The supervisor is calling the multiple tools there, right? So the tools is like, it is getting application detail. If you will see, it is getting the documents, and it is calling all the bank transaction, credit report, and then it is passing to different agents. So one agent is for the income assessment, other is credit assessment and expense assessment. So you can see the left side of his screen, the supervisor agent is coordinating through all these sub-agent, right? And these agents are going through the document, right? So they are looking at the pay slip, they are looking the bank statement, and they are looking at the credit, and loan history, and passing the information back to the supervisor agent. Okay, and that's how it is coordinating. And you will see some interesting fact there. So, what different agent are passing here? Okay, so they give the credit assessment summary, the expense summary, and all. And now the human can go and look at human and what is the pros and cons. So it is saying, okay, expense assessment, they find two things. There is monthly total spending is unstable, and there is large transactions, which was not visible initially. And same like income assessment, they see that the salary is pay slip and salary is not matching, right? And that's what it say. It listed the key finding to the supervisor agent, and they are selling, okay, go and take the decision. So now human can either accept or reject. Because it need more information, so it rejected. You can reject and as a loan officer and say that, hey, provide me this information or explanation why you have such a large transaction and all. So you see that here we have one supervisor agent and 4 child agent, and supervisor agent like connecting to the tool, passing those information to the child agent. They are doing all analysis and passing back to that, right? And that's how like uh, earlier it used to take like a month at least in US it take anywhere 30 to 40 or sometimes 60 days to pass a loan application. But I have seen the new companies are coming and they are able to process is like a maximum 2 week guaranteed, because they are using these agent which is doing on behalf of that, and one loan officer like taking the decision there. So that's how you see why everyone is running behind the agentic AI, because of it is really helping to reduce the cost and increase the efficiency. It is like a revolution which came from the I will say from typewriter to the computer. And people talk about, okay, lots of typewriter job is gone, now everyone switched to the computer. But the fact is, it's not like the people moved to the computer and they are doing more innovative things. They are not just stuck to the typewriter. Same things with the agentic AI, right? Once we'll move here with the AI, we are doing the more high quality things and give the mundane task to do these agents to do. And here is the architecture which I built for this entire architecture. So you see the supervisor agent calling these different tools. Tools could be your RAG, could be your web browser, or could be anything. So, and then, so here if you will see, the loan application kind of, it use the RAG. So it is in the vectorized knowledge base where it is getting the loan application through the API call. And the loan document and bank statement, all they're submitting. The applicant is submitting, they're putting maybe in a vectorized knowledge base and getting from that. And for the credit report, it is using API call and going to the credit company, pulling the report and checking it, and then passing these information to different agent. This agent is again calling them CP and calling all these tools and then consolidating the information. So you see the feedback loop is there. Now, what I will do actually, let's look at the another things, right? I was talking about the modernizing the application. So this is another agentic AI things which modernize the application. I'm moving a little bit ahead because these important things I don't want to miss. So suppose you have the COBOL code, which is each COBOL application is around 100 million lines of code. Can you imagine? Right, each enterprise. And a simple application is like maybe 10 to 12 million line of code, but nobody dare to put hand there because it is black box written like from 2 to 3 decades. People was wrote is got, they are retired, and there is so many things are there. So that's what this AWS transform when we are putting, right? So if you will see that it is agentic AI application, and it will ask, okay, what kind of application you want to create. I will take most complex because that is the mainframe, right? And it will start creating the mainframe application workload there. what I have seen the hundreds of customers is using, at least they are putting this 10 million, 20 million line of code and trying to understand what is inside the code, right? It is like what kind of business rules are baked in there. And it is asking where you want the comprehensive approach or just analysis focus. So normally you get the business rule extraction, you build the technical document, functional document, and then you understand, hey, this is my code. So that's what it is. But I will go to the first option. Okay, so first option is like it will start creating the application. Okay, and it is saying, okay, let's go ahead and create the job. So you see this is the bot interface is there, but in background it is using the multiple models. So for simple query it use the Neva model, for complex query it use the Claude Opus, Sonnet. So multiple model it is using to optimize the cost. By the way, this tool is available for free, so if you want you can try your hand there. Now it is asking, do you want to add the collaborator because it is a teamwork, or you want to specify the resource location. So I have put this code in my S3 bucket. Okay, so the code I want to analyze. So quickly I will go to that S3 bucket. Sorry, let me quickly go there and get the code from there. The code I uploaded there. So this is my S3 bucket, and I should have the creation date. Okay, so there is so many bucket I have created. Yeah, here I have this bucket, and I have put the code here, so I will take the URI from that. I put a demo code there, right? And if I will copy this code and I will send to the transform, so it is again the GenAI model is taking it and creating the work log and start analyzing the code there. And in between it will ask like awaiting the human input, so it is like kind of processing that, and then it will go for the code analysis. So let me see. Yeah, it is still processing. So that is completed. Now it is start analyzing the code, right? So while it is analyzing the code, let's go through some more slides and then we will come back to experiment it, right? So that way we are switching in between. And here you will see, while we are talking about and multi-agent architecture there, you will see we will talk about different agent. The agent ops is the another things which is important, because I just talk about the code and model update. So you need to uh, understand which model I should update. Every day new model is coming, so are you using the right model? And if you are using the model, are you optimizing it? For simple model, for simple query, you don't want to use the premium model. And each of these agent can have the different model attached to it, right? So if GPT model is very expensive for you, you can use for GPT-5 for very a reasoning kind of task, but you can use the GPT-3 for the simple task, which is much cheaper. Or same with Claude, you can do Claude Sonnet you can use for the simple task, or Opus for the complex task. And then it goes with the testing and deployment and monitoring, and the feedback loop is very important. The security we talked about, security goes with the multi-layer of security is there. So your agents need the security first, right? So there is no prompt injection, there is malicious prompt injection, it should protect itself, or no memory leak should be there. And then we talked about the guardrail. So so if something prohibited by the compliance and all, you want to protect that. Suppose if someone will ask, give me the SSN, that guardrail should immediately recognize that social security number is prohibited, and it will give the error, okay, that cannot be exposed. And IAM role or monitoring ring you want to give, so only people who are authorized can use that. So safety and governance, you will see some technology things I have put there, but it should adhere to the compliances, whether GDPR, SOX, HIPAA. Human in loop is very important, and we will see that, right? So let's go back to the demo again, right? It is still analyzing the code. I have put maybe 250,000 lines of code. Okay, so it is creating that. And I have also a ready demo. If it will not complete by then, I will come and show you that demo. Okay. Uh, so let's come back to the slide again, and maybe I will go at the end there. And here is, if you see that there is one other trend. Since GenAI, OpenAI or GenAI things has came, people are more going towards the open source model rather than there is big shift from enterprise to open source. Everywhere you will see the LangChain, LangGraph is more famous, and there is a Crew AI or Google ADX or Llama Index, and uh, each and every person or enterprise even building, they are going through the open source. So LangGraph is most popular because that's where you build the multi-agent architecture. You must have heard about LangChain a lot. LangChain is like if you are doing simple task, A, B, okay, LLM give the output and go to C, then use the LangChain, LangGraph. You need the multi-agent orchestration. You need the LangGraph for that. And it is very popular, Python based. And in the Bedrock, actually, all the open source you put, it is provide you kind of managed platform. So you create your container, your agent, containerize it, and host into the runtime. It provide you the gateway, which is based on the MCP and A2A. It has all kind of memory. It can provide long-term, short-term memory, IM. It has code interpreter. So kind of it is full package giving you. If you build your orchestration in LangGraph or Crew AI or something like that, you can also bring, because you need some infrastructure to host that, right? So at least it provide you the good infrastructure and things in one place. And obviously there is a knowledge base, it could be vectorized and all. And here is like I have put one from the screenshot from the Q developer, and there is a AWS booth, so you can go and try Q developer there. They have some exciting price, right? So I think sorry. So here is like a Q developer which I installed here. Sorry, I put the wrong icon. Right, so like a VS Code I have put here, and normally what it do actually, I have generated some unit test code for the Java code. If you'll see, I was just creating it before that, okay, and what I ask here, okay, create unit test for my Java code. Okay, and what it will do, it will go look at the directory, find out where is your code located, and start creating that, right? So this is what it is auto generated. I have put some Java code there, but it is also the agent based, right? It provide lots of agentic experience, and so it is saying that these are the different methods there. So kind of Q developer automatically generate the code for you. Then you have the Kiro. So Kiro, where you can create an agent, right? So I can ask create a application for Sweden stock analysis, create. Okay, and let's see if it'll do that or not. I'm just putting, and it will start creating the stock analysis, right? So it is start writing some agents there, right? Once it will write the agent, you can containerize it and deploy in the Bedrock core. If you want, you can do in the, and it will ask lots of permissions because of human in loop. And if you see, it is started writing the Python file. Okay, so I will click on allow, and let's look at this file while it is creating, right? So it is taking all of the top stocks, it go into the finance.google, so that's where it is a kind of tool calling is doing. then it find the top stock there, and it started creating the stock analysis, right? And then it is giving you the client also to test that. So you can use this client to test all these request and response and everything. Same, you might have heard about the cursor a lot, right? So cursor can also do the same things, right? I have not connected my API there, but if I can say find best coffee shop in Malome, right? It will go, and here it is doing the reasoning. It is thinking, okay, yeah, this corner, right? So it is doing the thinking and reasoning, okay, which Malome I'm talking about, and going into the web, searching about it, right? And then it will search the entire area, coffee shop, maybe to use the Google API or Gemini or something, and it will create that. So one things you will see, earlier you need team of developer, 8, 10 developer, take a month to build these things, right? Here I'm just giving the command and it is building it. It is not 100% efficient, but it is your best assistant. It's like you are doing the peer programming with the developer, and the earlier what used to take 1 week, maybe take 2 days for that, right? I'm not saying it is completely autonomous. You throw the stuff, it will do. You still have to do lots of things, but it increases the productivity a lot. Right, so it is thinking, it is doing the recent recommendation, it is looking at the rating to identify the top coffee shop, right? So at least it is telling you what different things it is doing. And so I will come back to this again. And here if you'll see that here it is doing some code analysis there. So if I will go to the dashboard, let's see. Yeah, it is asking that it is completed 40,000 code analysis, okay, and it is asking, okay, send it to create the dashboard, send it to the transform, okay, and it's creating the view. Now, I will come here again, so we look at the different tool, the cursor, Kiro, QDeveloper, and all those things, right? And here you have different agent available, whether you can do the development, testing, review, doc. So you have this code and it will create all sort of things. And that's what I was talking about. You see, if you are doing any legacy code modernization, you first need to assess, you need to documentation, you need to do the decomposition and do the web planning, what application need to go first, what need to go later. So all we can do from the transform here, and that's where like I try to embed that, but we are doing live. The other things trend we are seeing, where customer is going, looking at this code, creating the spec, and then generating code by themselves from scratch, because they don't want to carry the tech dev from old place to new place. So that's where using the Kiro or cursor to create the new code, like you taking these specs, just creating the user story epic out of that, and then using the Gen AI to create that. So some of the top use cases, we see the chatbot agent, definitely everyone talk about that, business workflow, coding agent, agentic platform. These are some of the top use cases which we see where everyone is, at least 70% of the world is going behind those. And if you will see the simple one of simple things, like if you need a marketer need uh, a, a date to do the data mining to understand which customer to target and all. Earlier, like you have to rely on the data engineers, you have the initial query, and then you have to have lots of queries with them. But now you have like model text to SQL chatbot, which can go and do it automatically. And we talked about this kind of agents here. Okay, so here like AI agent, this is like a ticketing tool, and so what is good about it, normally you go and book ticket, it give you the price, you do that. But if you build an intelligent agent, it will go and look at your points, whether I should use the point, okay, you are flying in British Airline, you have lots of points, let's use that. Or it is combination of that. And here is some architecture I have put. So you will see that these architecture a normal AI chatbot architecture, which is most popular one. There is different guardrail, different tools are there. And moving forward, the future is like, even though you see the prompt engineering now, but the future is like a goal engineering. Okay, so we are giving just goal to our architecture, and then it is giving us the proper output and acting, reasoning it, acting on behalf of us. And as we see that agentic loan application, how the different agent, we just give them the goal, okay, tell me whether I should approve it or not, and they give the output to you. And you don't have to navigate through multiple things. And human in loop is very important, and that's what any, oh, it is giving, time is done. Okay, so I have, and this is very difficult to explain. This is so depth topic. That's what I wrote this book, even though I put this week in February, but it is, most of my book are the conceptual book. So what I recommend everyone, if you are really looking to secure not only your career and future, but also go to the next level of things, because when on-prem to cloud come, whole world jump into the cloud. This is same paradigm shift from cloud to agentic AI. And it is really easy, as we see in the cursor and all. You start, and Kiro, you start with simple agentic AI application and use the reasoning and rule-based, mix that so that you save on latency and performance. Okay. So thank you, and you can still connect to me either LinkedIn, or I put lots of posts and hear few things. And I think time is over, but still for 1 minute I will show you the where our things has reached. At least this dashboard has got created. So see, it analyzed the entire 40,000 line of code while we are talking here, like in 5 minutes, right? And it is saying these are the COBOL, this is the COBOL copybook, BMS file, these different kind of files there. So 159 file types are there, right? And what you can do, then you can, and this is the technical document, this is the decomposition code and all. And if I will look, I have run that earlier, this one, this is complete flow. So you see there is multiple agents are there. This is analysis agent, this is document agent, decomposition agent. What I did actually, I took the account domain. Using the account domain, actually, I have created this web planning, and then it generated the code. The 40,000 line just account code it took, and it created the Java code for that. And for the same code, actually, I have generated the unit test case using the Q developer here. Right, so if I will show you all these things are available here, all the codes and everything, right? So if you'll see, this is the code, Java code got generated for the account application, and it is did like very quick for 40,000 line of code. Okay, so thank you for coming here, and hope you have learned from this, and I really enjoyed presenting this topic. Passionate about that.